happen without trade? No, we know it couldn't. Half of that was China alone. But the Chinese patents may have started in California or in Germany, but the enormous market of China and India took it to such a scale that this is now that coal cannot compete on price with solar can compete with coal on price everywhere in the world. That's a change, and again, it would have been possible without trade. Let me take you to one of my favorites. It's a Swede. His name is Hans Rosling. He just died, but before he died, he wrote a book which is called Factfulness. In that book, he sets out one big question. He asks people all over the world. The last 15 years, has global poverty doubled? Or has global poverty halved? Or is global poverty the same? I guess all of you know the answer. The answer is global poverty has halved. But nearly everyone answered exactly the opposite. When Hans Rosling goes around, nearly everyone believes that global poverty has doubled, while it has halved. And this is absolutely essential, because if we don't celebrate the progress, we won't learn from it and do better. There has been fantastic progress in the world in the last 15 years. Life expectancy is drastically increasing. Global poverty is drastically decreasing. Nearly all children in the world are vaccinated against nearly all diseases. And on the environment, in many areas, we are doing much better than in the past. For instance, protecting the enormous danger of the hole in the ozone layer. But the point is, if we know what we did well in the past, we can do more of that in the future. And that is linking trade and environment. And let me give you a challenge. It's time to start fighting. The environment community and the trade community are under pressure and challenged. We need to fight back. And we cannot fight hate with more hate. We can only fight hate with love. We cannot fight ignorance with more ignorance. We can only fight ignorance with facts. And we cannot fight apathy with pessimism, only with optimism. But this package of low optimism or facts will over time carry the day, and will do better both for the environment and for trade, and will do it together. And finally, what's kind of my main message basically everywhere in the world. Let's look for the triple win solutions. All those solutions which are very good for the economy, bringing people out of poverty, creating jobs, do economic growth. At the same time, very good for people, providing better health, uplifting of the individuals, and very good for Mother Earth and for the environment at the same time. And the good news is that we have now any number of these policies, and we should put them front and center in our conversation. It may have been right that at the time of the Industrial Revolution in the United Kingdom, and later in the United States and Europe, and maybe even later than that, that we needed to start having economic growth and then later taking care of the environment. It's not the case any longer. Just 3 examples at the end. If we move from coal into solar, which we are now doing at high speed at the planet, well, it's creating many more jobs, not fewer jobs. There are 5 times more jobs in the United States of America in solar than in coal. Some politicians speak otherwise, but they're simply ignorant. Adding to that, there are many more jobs for women in the solar industry if we move in that direction. Adding, of course, solar is fantastic for our health. We don't breathe polluted air. We live longer. We avoid any number of deaths coming from pollution. And adding to that, obviously, it's very good for our environment if we make the swap from coal into solar. China is in the lead of that swap, but many others are following. Move on to Africa, where nations like Rwanda and Botswana are moving into ecotourism, again creating any number of jobs in a healthy, good way for people, but protecting nature better, because if you move into ecotourism, well, you gain more income, which can do better conservation, and then you get more income again. the panda population in China is increasing, the tiger population in India is increasing thanks to this. In Africa, we see like the gorilla population in Rwanda drastically increasing because of this combination of ecotourism with trade and finally, plastics. Prime Minister India Modi has made maybe the most brave of all promises this year in politics. He said, we in India will phase out one-use plastic by 2022. Think of how big that brave proposal is. But again, yes, for sure, it's fantastic for Mother Earth. It will save any number of whales and seabirds and turtles. For sure, it's very good for the health of the Indians because practically also carrying any number of diseases when it's spread out in cities. But again, it's also creating any number of jobs because you can then turn into the alternatives. There's any number of jobs to be had in the waste management, in the new technologies which will come. So again, a triple win solution. So I may have spoken too long now, but look into in every area of policy to avoid the ignorance and factlessness of some politicians and move into this triple win future where we set the policies which are fantastic for the environment, fantastic for jobs and the economy, and fantastic for the health and the uplifting of people with the same policies. Thank you.
Well done. Well, that's a very clear vision about a critical issue for humanity, frankly. So thank you for that. We'll go deeper into that. And now we move to the private sector, which for us is very important. This is what the forum is all about. It's about talking to non-governmental institutions, people. And I think, Jack, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. Vision and Jack Ma are words that go together. That's your history. Your history was as an English teacher, if I'm not mistaken, meeting in your apartment with a few people, looking at the technology that you had before you. You had a vision about the future and you said, this is doable, let's go. Even though all the odds were against you. Now, 2030. What is your vision for 2030, for trade in 2030? Is it going to be much different from what it is today? And if so, how do we get ready for that? How do we make it the vision that we want for 2030, that you want?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting for this great session. I think I totally agree with Eric's discussion about let's stop fight, let's stop confrontation, the trade and grain. So today I would say let's stop worry about the future. 1994 I was invited to attend a forum in Beijing discussing about the internet of the future. About 20 people joined. And everybody was talking about the internet is going to destroy the society. We should do this to regulate, to control it. So almost 24 years passed. Found out the things we worried never came out. The things we did not worry all over. So you may not have the solutions, but young people have solutions. You don't have the solution today, but we have a solution tomorrow. Have confidence in ourselves and have confidence in the future, have confidence in the young people. So the trade we cannot say when we talk about the future, right? Some people have a vision, but not everybody believing that the things what they want, but we know what the things we don't want.
Dan sekarang kita sudah tersambung melalui
sambungan
telepon.
So for sure that 2030 the trade will be different, but for sure there will be more trade that time. The IT is to support 20% of the business, but the data technology, DT, support 80% of the business to be successful. 300 years ago, only few kings, they make benefit from the globalization. 30 years, in the past 30 years, 60,000 big companies who believe in globalization, they benefit from globalization. Next 30 years, I think 80% of the business, small business, will benefit from e-commerce, will benefit from globalization. So for sure that next 30 years, it is inclusive years for the globalization and trade. E-commerce today, we say, you guys are e-commerce. We're traditional business. Year 2030, more than 85% of the business will be e-commerce. So you like it or you don't like it, you have to be E. 99% of the trade affairs will be online. Only less than 1% of the trade will be the offline. And most of the trade business today we see, yesterday we see all containers. 2030, most of the trade formality is packages, not containers. The business we see today is B2C. Year 2030, business will C2B, consumer to business. Today we see made in China, made in America, made in Switzerland, or made in Geneva. 2030 we see made in internet. So today all the business, I love to be big business. I'm sure in 2030 you want to be small business because you have to be flexible. And 80% of the business at that time are small business, and 80% of small business at that time have to be globalized. If you're not globalized, you're dead. So manufacturing and service industry should be combined together. Manufacturing will not create jobs because most of the jobs on the manufacturing will be created by AI and robots. Service industry is going to be the area that creates a lot of jobs. Last century we like to be skilled, to be standardization, and this century we need personalization, customization. So all these things will fundamentally change the way we do trade. But for sure that a lot of people, most of the business will benefit from the trade, and we will create much more jobs than we expected. And I think what we are helping, the technology can helping, is enable the small business, every individual, every growth, to reach the market, to reach the money, to reach the logistics, to reach the technology, and reach the training. All these things are happening. Stop fighting. Stop ignorance. Roberto said that we cannot stop technology. The only thing we do is to embrace it. When you are fighting against the technology, when you're fighting this trade revolution, you are fighting among yourselves, and you're losing the future. So the best thing to welcome the future, to be successful in the future, is to embrace it. Change yourself, but don't change the technology. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's a very powerful